Hi everyone, I'm Ashley Jones from Designs and Machine Embroidery, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. So I'm filling in for Eileen. She has just allowed me to do this topic because it is one of my favorite. I'm a crafter. I love doing all things crafting, and working with heat transfer vinyl is one of those things. So using my digital cutter to cut out sayings and cute little things to put on shirts and bags and all kinds of things. But today we are actually going to talk about how you can use heat transfer vinyl in your embroidery. Now, if you don't know what heat transfer vinyl is, don't worry. We're going to go through all of the details. But in today's episode, we are talking when your crafting and embroidery collide. So I love that. So thank you guys for joining. I would love to hear from you over there in the chat. I see the questions already popping up. Hi, Jill. Hi, Dory. I see you guys piping in. Tell us where you're watching from, and tell us if you have ever used heat transfer vinyl with your embroidery. We're going to show you how to use it today, and you're going to be amazed. It is super easy to add a little sparkle to your embroidery. So I love to hear if you guys have done it. If not, we're going to give you all the details. Now, I want to share with you about a collaboration. So when my screen comes up here, I want to show you this picture right here. So today's episode, I have a very special guest from Siser. And so Siser is the company that makes the vinyl that we are going to be talking about today. So we have collaborated with Siser because the perfect matching of our metallic threads to their glitter vinyl it's like the perfect marriage. So we've decided to incorporate this into the things that we offer to embroiderers, and you guys are going to love it. So this is a collaboration between us here at Dime using our metallic thread, but we are using Siser's vinyl. Now, I do have a very special guest here today from Siser, and so I'd love to welcome her onto the screen, and that's Stephanie Young. So hi, Stephanie. How are you today?
Hey, Ashley, it's so good to be able to spend time with you and to craft. And I'm going to give you bonus points because you got it right. You said Caesar. So many people want to say Sizer, sister, scissors. So bonus points to you for getting it right the first time.
Yeah, you've coached me enough, so I know, but I do agree. It's definitely a different spelling, but people think Caesar salad. That'll get it. That'll nail it every time. So Caesar salad, even though it does look like scissor, Caesar, Sizer, all kinds of things. So, well, Stephanie, tell me a little bit about Caesar, if you don't mind. I want everybody watching out there to kind of understand why we've chosen to do this collaboration, but I want them to know a little bit about Caesar and what kinds of things that you guys do and offer.
Well, thank you so much again. I'm so excited about this collaboration. So, Caesar, that's right, Caesar, we manufacture over 40 different types of HTV. So, people that are new to the lingo, HTV is heat transfer vinyl. So, it requires heat to transfer it to your clothing, your fabric, your material. And we have found that certain products embroider really well. So I'm embroider, I love to embroidery. And so this is just such an exciting collaboration because we're taking my product, Caesar, with me to your product, and it's going to be so fun.
Yeah.
I absolutely love, I'm always outside the box. I'm always trying to find ways to kind of use the product. So HTV glitter is thick enough that when you take that carrier sheet off, it becomes like a fabric. And that's what we're going to show today. And I can't wait to see what all you've created to show.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely have some fun stuff. I kind of went basic, whereas I know that you've got a lot of things to show us that are really elaborate, things that you can do with heat transfer vinyl and embroidery together. And so I can't wait to see your samples. But I kind of went basic because some of our viewers might be brand new to this. And so I wanted to make sure that we started the very basic, but then I also, Stephanie, you've done some amazing things, and I really wanted them to be able to see the level that they could go to. Now, if we do have someone that is brand new, tell them exactly what you can do with heat transfer vinyl. What is it normally used for? And then we're going to be talking about using it with embroidery, right? So what do you normally, before embroidery, what would you do with heat transfer
So I'm
vinyl?
going to move my shirt just a little because I have my camera. So we talked about Mary, the time of year. So heat transfer vinyl can be cut with scissors and you can apply it like shapes. You could use an electronic cutter. So many of us use cutters and kind of just assume everybody knows what one is. But an electronic cutter, there's different brands that are out there. Of course, we have our brand, we have Romeo and Juliet.
I
So
love
it
that.
is an electronic cutter that will cut the vinyl and then you weed it. So weeding is when you take away the part that you don't want. And then when you flip it over, you iron it onto your garment or your material, and it could be a phrase, it could be a shape, it's whatever you want it to be. For glitter, I believe we have 40 something colors.
Yeah,
Each
nice.
weed, I know 65 colors to choose from. So lots of color options.
Yeah.
And most of the products can be layered on top of each other. There's a few that can't. And we are all about education, education,
Absolutely.
education. So on our website, CaesarNA for North America.com, you can pick on any product and it'll tell you if you can layer it or if you can't.
Yes.
So great
Love that.
information out there.
It is, because you can layer it in embroidery as well. What I'm showing today, I just have one layer because, like I said, I definitely wanted to start basic for anybody that has never done this before. But I love the idea of that. Now, you did mention briefly that not every heat transfer vinyl is a good choice for embroidery, right? So what are
Correct.
you looking for in the heat transfer vinyl to be able to use it with your embroidery?
So I have a piece that I'm just going to pick up. This is a glitter. This is copper, and it's that thickness of it and you don't want all vinyls to be thick because then when you're layering, it'd be a little heavy on your shirt. So you could use glitter, you can use strip flock. Those are heavy enough to withstand our stitches and what we put them through under our embroidery machines.
Good point. Good point. And so, although glitter's not the only one, we are talking about that today because it is the perfect match with our KingStar metallic. So, I don't know about you, but I love, yes, our KingStar metallic. It's the easiest metallic thread to work with. You don't have to do all those crazy things that you have to do with other brands of metallic thread, like put it far away from your machine, put it in another room, string it over the ceiling fan into your machine. I mean, it's really, yeah, you put it right on your machine. It's super easy. So we thought this was a really good combination. Now, we are going to be using this with embroidery today. So now tell us just briefly before you start your trunk show, Stephanie, when we are using with our embroidery designs, what are we really doing? So, or is there a particular type of design we're using? What are you looking for in the design, and how are we incorporating it?
All excellent. So I'm going to start with the most obvious. So as you see, this is a piece of vinyl. I cut it. And anytime you purchase our HTV, our heat transfer vinyl, it has a carrier sheet on it. What does that carrier sheet do? Well, really, it's there to hold your design together. So remember, I talked about using an electronic cutter. So if I had cut this design, I would weed away parts and then flip it over and press it. Well, I need that carrier sheet to hold my design together. Obviously, I don't want it to fall apart, and to protect the vinyl when I go to iron it or heat press it. Well, guess what? All I have to do, watch the magic. You ready? So I take the carrier sheet off. I place it ever so gently in the trash can or throw it on the floor. And now it's my fabric. So I think that a lot of times we tend to overthink, we get crafting, we see something and we're scared to try it. This is now fabric. That's the
Right.
easiest way for me to say it.
I like that.
So I love using it with appliques. That was my very first use for it.
Yep.
But now I've kind of gone past using it for appliques. And, we have such wonderful software. We have such technology that I can bring it into software with a regular embroidery design, create like an offset, cut the offset, and then use it. So, you know me, I'm always going to keep building and stacking.
Yeah.
But the simple, easy, great way to start using the product is this applique. So I'm going to show, since I have this. Why do
Yeah.
I have this? Because I'm in Tennessee. We've got our orange rolling today. So my very first, I'm going to show you, Ashley.
Okay, we'll make you big so that your samples are big. Yeah. So there we go. Take a look at this items, guys. You guys are gonna love this.
So this is it's a pumpkin. And I love this because it's one of those Dollar Tree bins. And so I just hooped it. And then I have it out for the holidays. And it's not just because it's cute, it's so that I can hide some stuff in it when I set this out for decoration. So
Love
that
that.
is, a very beginner's project of using it as an applique. And I will show one other project real quick. And this is it's going to be a pillow, but I didn't have a pillow here. So it's just some ornaments.
Cute. Those are gorgeous.
And see
Perfect for
how
this
that
time of year.
glitter just really picks up that color and that shimmer. That's what, I love, Ashley, I know that you love glitter vinyl. I know you don't love loose glitter.
I
So
don't. I
this is
don't.
the perfect
I love a
way.
little shine. Yep, I love a little shine, a little shimmer, but I don't love loose glitter. And that's the nice thing about using these glitter heat transfer sheets is the glitter is all contained.
That's
I hate
right.
it when it gets everywhere.
So do you want me to show a little bit more?
Yeah, go ahead. So go ahead and show a variety of your things, Steph, and then I'll go over once you get them all excited with your trunk show. I'll go over and show them under the camera how exactly it's used in an applique.
All right. So I'm going to start the show. You're going to end the show. Got it?
Sounds good.
So, my thought process sometimes goes down a rabbit hole. So I had seen this design and she just kind of spoke to me. So I just stitched it because, I'm going to stitch it out first to see how I like it. So this I stitched out with some metallic thread and just a single color. And I liked her. So then I tried her with a variegated. And her tone totally changes just because I used variegated thread. I feel like from one to the other. So once I kind of got that going in my head, I was like, she needs to be an applique.
That's my favorite.
You say that about all of them, Ashley. So here you can see that I used 2 different glitters and 2 different metallic threads. And her face, to me, her attitude changes just by what color thread I used and turning that into an applique. So to me, from this look to the jacket look, it looks like a totally different file just because I feel like she has a little more sass just by using that as an applique. So let me show you a couple other ways that you can add vinyl, and it doesn't have to be an applique. It can be used as an accent. It can be used as an embellishment. So we have a printable vinyl that you can use in your inkjet. It's called Easy Color. So this is some artwork, and then I just embellished it with the eyebrows. So if you notice, I have black eyebrows.
Glittery eyebrows. Hey, that's my favorite.
I know it. But wait, Ashley, there's more. This one is one of my favorites because I am a huge Dr. Seuss fan. So this has a collaboration of fabric and glitter.
Oh, that's perfect. Love it.
So I did some fabric, I did glitter. This is glitter and behind it is fabric. So that way you can see there's, different ways, different tones that I believe. Because could you ever find a fabric that is that beautiful for a fish? I mean, really, could you ever?
Right. Fish, seashells. I mean, there's so many things we want that shimmer, and
So
the glitter is
earlier,
perfect for.
I talked about strip flock. Strip flock is a type of vinyl that when you pull the carrier sheet off, it has like a velvet feel to it. It's very plush. It's like, to me, I always say pet this because it's like a little bit of a stuffed animal, a little bit of a velvet feel. So this is going to show both of those. This has a glitter, and then here in the center, that is a strip flock. So it really gives it texture from one to the other. So that way you can really see,
Oh,
you
that's
have your
gorgeous.
glitter and then you have your strip flock. So the two of those make that, to me, a little bit more realistic than if I would have used just fabric, because
Yeah.
it would have been so flat. We know I'm
Beautiful.
never flat. I always want to do bigger, better, right?
Absolutely.
And I think stitches can make a difference. So for
Yeah.
the next one, it's going to almost look like I've used two different colors of thread and two different colors of vinyl, but I didn't. I used a candle wicking stitch and a satin stitch. So if you notice, the ribbon appears to be a little bit different color just because of that satin stitch.
Oh, wow. Such a great technique. I love that.
This is, obviously created for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I love that project. I love what it stands for, but I really love how I feel like that just a product that we have at Siser can really reach people. It's the perfect breast cancer awareness color, and it really, really speaks to the heart to me.
Love that.
So the next one all started because of one vinyl color. So I'm going to show it with one piece first. So this is a
Ooh,
color that when I saw it, I thought that looks like a dreamsicle. So then
I
it has
was just
become,
gonna say the thing. Oh my gosh, I don't think I've seen that sample.
I
I'm
have to
going back.
surprise you sometimes.
Oh, maybe so, but here I'm gonna have to say what Ann Philback said. That's Ashley's favorite too. It is, Ann. It is.
So this one I didn't let you see because it all started because of roaming through and seeing the one color, and I was
Yeah,
like, that looks like a dreamsicle. So that
it
way,
does.
that shows you that it can be whimsical, it can be fun, it can be sophisticated. That's what I really love about embroidery and I love about vinyl is that just your imagination can make that project change.
I love that. And so, Stephanie, we've got like a ton of comments coming up. So let me just read a couple of them really quickly. So, Arnell says, "Is it hard to wash?" So, talk about care for a second as you're showing your next sample.
Well, that is an excellent question. So he transfer, we test it and wash it. We'll say over 50 washes is usually it'll have a 50 plus. Again, we love education. On our website, we have every product and how many times the washability for it. It's made to go on clothing. Obviously, clothing's wash dried, wash dried. So of course it's ready to be embroidered on and to be laundered.
I love
So
that.
this
That's a great point. Oh, I
so of
love that
course
one too.
this one, Siser, our slogan is be creative, be Siser. So I think this is a beautiful way to show fabric. So my fabric and then having my applique letters.
Oh, that is awesome. I love the print on the fabric and the glitter still pops, even though the
It,
fabric's kind of busy. Love
I
it.
think that it's just that beautiful subtleness. I love that color. And here's one more bag to show you. And this has a couple of different products. I'm going to bring this one in. So of course we have Siser and the girl's dress is in fabric. And then the different hearts are in different Siser products. So that way you can kind of see that we have some glitter, some strip flock, some aurora, and those are different ones to show the same heart. Three different colors, three different sheens
Love
come
that.
from that.
So Diamond Crystal says, does Caesar have a good HTV that is good for outdoor use in several climates? So HTV that's outdoor. I wonder if she means PSV, but all HTV is fine outdoor, right? Or is she thinking like outdoor furniture, maybe?
Well, it kind of depends because if you have extreme cold, you can't, vinyl is, we kind of say between the, like 70s, you're not going to store it in your attic because you will see some damage if you have extreme cold and extreme heat. But typically with heat transfer vinyl, it's on fabric that we're wearing or that we're embellishing in our homes. I have put it on tents and done some things with it, but I haven't had it out there for longevity. So you
Gotcha.
will see some color changes when exposed for a long amount of time.
Gotcha.
So are
Good
you
point. Good
ready?
question. Good
That
question.
was a
Yes.
great question. So this one, I keep saying, clothing and fabric, but I actually heat pressed onto some basswood and then I
Love
embroidered with it. So the
it.
B is embroidery, and then the rest is different types of vinyl and glitter. And this glitter is the tawny, which is a gold that blends so beautifully with MA2.
That is beautiful. And fillback, that's another Ashley favorite.
And if it's not Ashley's favorite, it's Tammy's favorite. I'll just speak for her.
Yes, yes. You guys may know Tammy Madden. She's part of our education team as well. So Tammy and I have good taste.
So this next one, I'm going to surprise you with. It has no embroidery at all. Because we keep talking about heat transfer vinyl, I thought I would show it just as a shirt with heat transfer. So
I
no
love that.
stitches. So this is two different colors of vinyl and created the design. And that way you can see this is just used as heat transfer vinyl. So you could use your electronic cutter, cut it, and then apply that. For me,
That
I'm
is
going to use a Romeo because he's my new best friend.
absolutely. And so we have another question that actually kind of relates to before. So no washing or drying, Kimberly says. So yes, you can wash it. What's your recommendations for drying an item that has heat transfer on it, heat transfer vinyl on it, Steph?
Typically, we're always going to say turn it inside out to dry. Some people would always like to hang to dry. And that way, inside out, just so it doesn't hit on the inside of your dryer.
Gotcha. But it can be washed, machine washed,
Machine
and
wash, machine
machine
dry.
dried.
And do you
Nice.
think I'll always remember to turn it inside out? No, not
No,
always.
probably not.
So let's see. Oh, I have four more items, and they're all for some of my favorites. So I'm going to go back to a technique that seems to be really trending right now, besides flamingos. So this
Ooh.
is the fuzzy flamingo. Let me turn it there. There you go. That shows it. So this is a technique to where you cut your bobbin, but then I threw a whole bunch of mini in glitter. So that way you can kind of see both of
So cute.
those. So the theme for the retreat that we are attending right now is flamazing. So everything is flamingo. So of course I had to bring a flamingo bag.
And Ann
Oh,
Philback
Tammy,
says, brother scan and cut will cut this great. That absolutely. I actually have a example I was going to show them. Stephanie, I haven't applied it, but I was going to show them what it looks like when it's cut. So
thank you so much
absolutely.
for doing that.
Yeah.
All right, we are coming up. This one is all heat transfer, and then I just attached some freestanding lace, and that freestanding lace is made out of metallic thread.
I love that. That's a great combination of freestanding lace from those cogs. I love that. Another Ashley favorite.
To me, if we go to some people would have thought they never could do freestanding lace with metallic, but with KingStar, of course you can because it's so user friendly. I don't even work for Dime, and I can say it is the very best. I love it. I've always used it. I don't have time for all those tricks. Ashley, do you remember when one of the tricks was threading it through a peanut, those styrofoam peanuts?
Yes, I
Oh my,
do.
no, I can't do that.
I do. Yes, I agree. I don't like having to do all of that just for my thread to work correctly. So KingStar it is for the win.
I agree. So this one is another collaboration that you have. This is from Embroidery Garden. So this project is the
That's
floral
the sketch
collection.
florals. Yes, the sketch floral collection.
So you can
Beautiful.
see that I have used on the leaves embellishments, and I have glitter, and then I have fabrics, and then I've embellished all the way, and I added Let Your Dreams Blossom. And then on the front,
Oh,
again, and where would I ever find that color green in a fabric that just, I mean, if I did find something like that, it would be one of those $56 a yards kind of fabric. This to me is so easy. It would be a scrap. For those
right.
of us that have always used it, we can dig through our scrap pile and find a piece to make an applique.
Absolutely.
So
I totally
perfect
agree.
use.
And when they
Perfect.
see, if you haven't used this in embroidery, when I head under the camera, you're going to see why it's addicting, because when you stitch with this, you don't have to do any trimming. It literally rips away like a perforated paper towel. It is phenomenal. And it makes me want to put it in every applique because I never have to do any trim. But hey, I
That's
love
it.
this. I love this comment from Ann Philback. She said, "Can I borrow your creative mind, Stephanie? You and me both. You and me
Thank
both."
you so
And
much. And
yes.
Ashley was inundated because I was traveling. I needed to bring samples with me. And so I was like trying to pick and choose. So the last piece I'm going to show,
Yes.
it
And
has
then,
several different techniques that I really, really love.
okay, good, good. Murtis, I think that's Murtis Trexler says Cricut works great too. Absolutely. So digital cutters out there work great. So any one will work with Siser's heat transfer vinyl. So I have a couple of different brands. I know Stephanie has even more than me. Yes, they all work great. Somebody did ask earlier, Stephanie, though, and I'm not sure. I could see this working. Somebody asked about using it with an AccuQuilt cutter. So, I mean, I could see like if you had one of those applique shapes from the
Yes,
AccuQuilt dies and you cranked that through, it would cut out that shape. So, say it's a
perfect.
floral
Yes,
design or floral applique or whatever, then absolutely it would cut it out. And then you could heat apply that or
correct.
incorporate that in the applique file that goes along with that AccuQuilt file. Am I thinking correctly? Will that work that way?
It will work perfectly that way. And I will tell you one hint, I would take the carrier sheet off and cut it
Good
without it
point.
so that you're cutting it just like fabric. I have done it both ways. I can tell you, that carrier sheet, again, I have it right here. It's thick. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not real, it's thick. So when
Yeah.
you're trying to go through, especially if you have a crank one, you're going to have to crank to cut through this hard plastic
Right.
instead of just using the vinyl that I now call shiny
Fabric.
fabric.
Shiny fabric. I love that. So Linda Burke, there's your answer. Yes, you can use that with your AccuQuilt cutter. Just remove the carrier sheet. And then you might want to answer this one too, Steph. Dorothy says she always gets confused on whether the vinyl is face up or face down. Do you have a way to remember that?
Yes. So if it's HTV, heat transfer vinyl, if it has a carrier sheet, which 95% of them do have a carrier sheet. If it has a carrier sheet, it's going to go shiny side down and mirror your image. Why? Because when you flip it over to press, then the word is in the correct orientation. So if it has a carrier sheet, shiny side down, which this would be the shiny when it's attached, shiny side down, mirror your image, weed it, and then heat press it. So when we create it as fabric, this comes off and it's just, so now this would be cut face up if you were putting it in your AccuQuilt because there's no carrier sheet. It's going to be applied directly. So
Good.
this is what's going to make a difference. If it has a carrier sheet, reverse your image. If it doesn't have a carrier sheet, don't reverse it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then Deanna Sage says no rotary cutter for Caesar, but that's not true. You can rotary cut it, right?
Yes, you can rotary cut it. And actually, I cut all of these with the rotary cutter so that I would have strips here ready to talk about different things. So yes, I use a rotary cutter on it all the time. And actually, I have a whole project that I have that I do with squares, circles, and shapes that I just kind of created different ones. And then we just dial them out. Whatever color you get, you heat press it. So you can use scissors, you can use die cut, you can use AccuQuilt, so many ways to cut it. And but then later we don't even have to cut it. And I can't wait for Ashley to show you that she doesn't have to cut it.
I actually, most everything that I stitched, Steph, I left it because I feel like it's like it's like instant gratification
Yeah,
to just rip that away. So if you like popping the bubble wrap and things like that, this is my bubble wrap kind of thing. So I'll
I get
definitely
it.
show that several times. So and then Kathy Maxwell says she has a Jonomi artistic edge, and I guess
Yeah,
it'll work too. She's
it
absolutely
will.
right. Yeah, love
Hey,
that.
what? Guess what, Kathy? I have one of those also.
Of course you do. Of course
Of
you do.
course I do. And yes, it does cut beautifully.
Yeah,
So I'm going to
absolutely.
show you my last sample. That way you can show them the gratification.
Okay.
So remember earlier I said that we had a vinyl that you can print on? It's a printable, it's inkjet. Well, I took my vacation picture and I printed it out onto this inkjet. And then I took that and pressed it onto quilter's cotton. So
Oh my God.
printable onto quilter's cotton. And I created an in the hoop project. So this was my vacation picture. This is an in the hoop bag, zipper, and it's lined. So then, since I had a shadow in my picture, I created a 3D, and this is glitter applique to go on top of that bag. So several ways that you can use vinyl. So earlier I did say, for applique that the vinyl is thicker. If you want to use another type of vinyl of easy weed, you would need to apply that to a fabric to give it substance. But then you are going to have to cut it. You don't get that same gratification.
Absolutely. Our friend Joanne Banco is here and she says, "Ooh, printable vinyl. How much fun." I agree. How clever and how cool is that? Everybody loves a personalized photo
Yeah.
printed, and I definitely agree. So, oh, Jennifer Alexander Nito, great bag, Stephanie, and I agree. They love that one, Steph. So that's a really good one.
Well, see,
Very
I ended on a good
personalized.
note. That was the last one. And now, guess what? Drum roll. I get to shoot it over to you.
Well, and I'm going to go right here under my camera. So we'll share that screen. And I'm actually going to show you, this is still left in the hoop. This is actually my snap hoop monster for my multi-needle. And I left it because I wanted you to see, literally, this is how I stitched it. And then using this actually is not even an applique pattern, Steph. These glasses, I actually got this from our pet emoji program. It has little sunglasses. So because I can stitch right over it and rip it away after, look at that. Oh my gosh, it's the easiest thing ever. So even if it's not an applique and it's just a satin stitch, it still works great. So look how awesome. Is that not the cutest thing? That's one of my favorite designs, as you can tell, Ashley's favorite again. And so I just thought that was so cute, but a really nice pop of color, and look how cleanly it tears. I mean, Steph, this is one of my favorite reasons why I love using this, because if you have an intricate design, like I have an example here, and I started ripping it away, but I was like, oh, I should wait. But if you were doing this applique here, I actually appliqued this fork and spoon. To trim in between those tines would be
No.
yeah, a little challenging, right? And so, but hey, I don't even have to worry. I can just rip it away just like that. And then for this, what I would probably do is like grab some tweezers, just kind of slip in there and then finish ripping that out. I mean, is that awesome or what, guys? Like, tell me over in the chat how amazing that is. So I don't have to do any of the trimming. I've got a little bit of piece there that didn't rip, but I can just grab that with my tweezers and pull that away. So how cool, right? So I've got some other things to show them too, Steph, but let's see if there are more questions and comments, because there seems like there's a lot. So Marianne says, which vinyl did you use with the cat and the silverware? So this is the Siser tawny color. It's going to come in the pack that we have today that comes in our new Shimmer and Shine packs in the Regal set, and I'll show you guys that in just a bit. For the glasses on the cat, that's actually mermaid blue, one of my favorite colors. I love that, and it is a perfect match to the turquoise, and again, another one of Ashley's favorites. So so that's what was used in those designs. And then Deborah Ness Clark says, was there a carrier sheet on when pressing? So for the applique, I remove the carrier sheet, and then right now it is not been pressed, but that's something I definitely want to talk to you guys about here in just a bit, because just as easily as it rips away from the outside, it too will rip away from the inside. So once you are done, you definitely want to press that, and I actually have some tips for you on that in just a bit, and so I'll show you that when we get to that portion. So, and then I saw a couple of other questions I wanted to make sure to draw attention to. So Deanna Sage says, does it come in the 3-pack of sheets with the matching thread? And yes, it absolutely does. And that's our special for today, Deanna. So we'll show you a picture of that in a bit. We've matched up the perfect Siser vinyl color with our KingStar metallic, and we've got that on special today. So I'll be showing you that coming up. And then there was another question up here I wanted to make sure to address if I could find it. Stabilizer. So Steph, so it looks like Bell G Cats. I'm not really sure if that's how you say it, but she wants to know if you have to use a specific stabilizer. Now for me, I use the stabilizer that is specific to my substrate that I'm embroidering on, because this is really an embroidery design. So whatever you are embroidering on, you'll choose the stabilizer that is specifically for the item you're stitching on. So for this canvas bag, I chose a Tearaway, our exquisite Tearaway stabilizer. I'm going to show you a shirt in a bit, and I actually used a fusible no-show. But what about you, Steph? Do you you choose the stabilizer based on your item?
I definitely use the stabilizer because we all know that stabilizer is the foundation of any embroidery project. So I do not take into account at all really my vinyl. I'm going to take account my stitch count, what I'm actually stitching on, and then do that weighing system of what stabilizer best meets that need. So yes,
Absolutely.
I am going to match it to my embroidery project, not to the vinyl.
I love that. Yes, exactly. And that's the way that we would choose stabilizer for any embroidery project. The vinyl doesn't make a difference in the embroidery project. I love how Stephanie just said it's acting as a glittery fabric. So that's kind of how we're using it in our embroidery. And then Creative Applique says, what temperature do you need to press with? And Steph, that is definitely a question for you. I always have to refer to my Siser app, because I don't have them memorized. So, but I bet you do. Go ahead.
Well, actually, this is a great time to plug. There is a Siser app. It is Siser HTV, and we have it for iPhone or for Android. And typically, even I have to look those up. And I'm going to say that that would be at 315. And we're going to talk about heat and more so about pressure. And when you're talking about, I know you have some tips and tricks, so I'm not going to get too far ahead.
Okay.
And I'm saying this for Siser brand vinyl. So always make sure, no matter what brand you're using, that you check with their instructions. So many times you'll get into a group and you will say, I need to press XYZ. And you'll have somebody come up and say that they press it for 50 seconds or they do. Please don't rely on that. Make sure that you get the information from the company that you're buying for. Of course, I want it to be from Siser. So we keep that information again, because we really want people to be educated. They don't have to guess. On the app, you can ask, it'll just tell you if you're using glitter, scroll down exactly what pressure, what time, and what temp. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when you show your tips.
Okay. Well, and I want to also make a comment. So Sandy says, does it tear away so easily? Would it tear away from the inside? And the answer is yes, Sandy. And that's why we want to press it to actually bond it to the fabric. And then I also have the comment here from Les that says you still heat press the finished product, right? And that's absolutely right. Yeah. Now, heat press, you don't have to use a heat press. I'm going to show you with just my little craft iron. And the other thing I love about Siser app is that it also tells you the setting for your regular home iron. No matter what ironing apparatus you have, they give you the details for what settings to use, which I love, because then it's fail safe, right? So I love that. So Siser app, download that for your Android or your iPhone. So before I get to the pressing stuff, I'm going to head over to my software and show them how to create the next design that I am going to show. and then we'll get on to that pressing, and I'll show them the colors kind of under the camera. So I created a cute little shirt that is Joy, Joy, and I wanted a Christmas bulb in the center. And so I'm going to put my text here. I'm actually going to leave the O out and just put JY. Okay, because we're going to put a Christmas ball there in the center. Now, this is my patch and applique maker software, which is a perfect complement to this whole process because any applique would work great. So I chose this applique font here. Now, I need a space for my little Christmas bulb. So luckily for me, my patch and applique maker will let me just separate my letters by sliding this double triangle here. And then built into this software, we have some really fun appliques in this catalog here, and I went right to the Christmas. There's actually several different options here. You could choose from any of these. These little swirls remind me of the swirls on your pumpkin that you had earlier, and so that is a great one to choose. Now, obviously, that's not the right size, so we could resize in our patch and applique maker, and it does recalculate the stitches. And I just kind of angled mine off to the side there a little bit just to kind of give it a little bit different look. And then for this bulb is applique, and there's actually stitching over top of this, and then our open applique letters. So after I created this, I simply saved it in our software from our embroidery tool shed, patch and applique maker, or any dime software will save to all embroidery machine formats. So you can select the format for your embroidery machine, and we certainly have that. So now once I saved it, I stitched it out. Now, I was actually making me a fun little Christmas shirt, Steph. And so I thought that it turned out adorable. And I love doing some of those non-traditional colors. What do you think?
Well, you know, I am all about non-traditional colors because I did my Christmas tree in pink and green last year with flamingos. And now that you've already created that file, you can just shoot that right over to me, and then I will create a matching one.
Will do. But look how adorable. I also chose this particular one just so that we could talk about, you can stitch over top of the glitter. So I stitched the bulb first and then placed down my glitter. And I did go ahead and rip it away because I knew that my pink would overlap.
Right.
But I also love how it's hardy enough to actually be stitched on top of. And you had some samples like that as well. So what do you guys think over in the chat? Is this cool or what? So I'm just loving this technique. And while I'm here, let me show them a variation of your shirt that you're wearing, Stephanie. This is a little apron that I had, just a craft apron. And I kind of did something similar, but I wanted to point out that applique, you can actually use this in any type of applique. So if you're using a blanket stitch applique, and I know that's hard to see the stitches, and satin stitch, this is just merely a run stitch. This is tackle twill. And then this is a candle wicking stitch like Steph already showed you. And for this one, there's actually an opening in between each of those little candle wicking. So here's my recommendation. Pull against those stitches so that it actually tears the vinyl in between your candle wicking stitches. So it'll just make it cleaner. And so you can rip this away after your placement stitch if you like, but it's so easy to wait till your finishing stitch. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? Now, I did rip it away before I did the tackle twill, since that's such an open stitch. Let me bring it up a little bit and see if it'll actually show up. You can see at the top of the R here, the open of the tackle twill, I didn't want the vinyl to be all the way to the edge. So I did remove that before I actually stitched that tackle twill stitch. So, and that's just a personal preference. You don't have to do that. But it's still that tack down stitch, it ripped away really, really easily. So isn't that awesome? I love that. Another fun project. Now, let me show you this one, and then we're going to talk about pressing. So here I've got an applique that I did with these cute little trees. Just how simple is that? But that was just a plain placemat that really dressed it up with the glitter there. And this is a shape that was in my software. So I was able to just turn it into an applique. Now on this one, I wanted to show you that when we are using this as a piece of fabric, like Stephanie said, you're going to use that, remove that carrier sheet, and you're going to use just this part acting as fabric. But that's not the only thing you can do. I used my digital cutter and cut this one, and I left this on here so that you guys could see. This is what Stephanie was referring to. She's calling it weeding, is when you remove the glitter from the negative space. And now I'm left with my tree that I can then iron onto my placemat. Nothing to do with embroidery. I just wanted to point out that you can use this with regular heat transfer projects. So I wanted to point out that this is a very versatile product. And then look what I did here. If you don't have a digital cutter, but you maybe have a printer, I printed on Dime's print and stick target paper the shape of this tree. Okay, very easy, right? Just use my scissors, of course, my fabric scissors, not my fabric scissors, but my regular scissors. And I literally just cut this out. And I'm going to remove my print and stick template. That print and stick target paper is a printable template paper that it's adhesive. So I was able to stick it right to the front of my the carrier sheet side. But before I press, because my print and stick is not heat safe, I'm actually going to remove that print and stick target paper. Hopefully I didn't leave it sitting there too long so that it gets sticky, because then I'm going to press against that carrier sheet. So this was just merely to act as a template for me to cut my tree. And you can see how now it's just the carrier sheet on the front, and I can fuse that down. I won't make you watch the rest of that. So then we would just iron that in place. And so you can actually decorate with this, even if you're not using embroidery. Okay, so now let's talk about the heat and the ironing. So I'm going to head over and just grab my, this is my hoop and press pad that I use for a lot of my in the hoop projects. But for pressing, it's perfect because let's do this shirt. I haven't pressed it yet. And so to iron this, it does not have the carrier sheet anymore. So I want to iron from the back. Also, ironing from the back is going to protect my embroidery stitches. The other nice thing about ironing with these wool press pads is that when we are ironing from the back, the embroidery is going to sink down in the wool and protect our stitches. So I always like to cover with a carrier sheet just to make sure. And then I've got this little craft iron, and I'm just going to make sure there that I've ironed it. And I'm just going to hold it there for about 10 seconds. I have it on the correct setting that I had to look up on my Siser app, right, Steph?
That's right.
To make sure it's right. And then I'm going to fuse that down just by holding each one for about 10 seconds. That's going to bond it to my fabric so that it will not rip away from the inside. Is that cool or what? And you saw how easy it was to use with your embroidery. So I am really enjoying using this in all of my projects, even if it's not embroidery. Remember, or not an applique. Remember my cat glasses were not an applique, but it had that nice satin stitch that I could stitch right over and then rip it away. So, and then, after that, I'm all done. And I know now this is not going to rip away from my inside of my stitches. So I just love that. I love those colors, right? So let's see if we have any more questions here. So we've got, so Mary says, if you press after, will it melt the thread? And the answer is no. You're going to press from the back, and you just don't want to crush those stitches. When you press embroidery from the front, it will flatten out your stitches. So we usually press from the back when we're doing any pressing on finished embroidery. And that way we know our stitches are protected. A wool pressing mat will allow those stitches to kind of sink in, for lack of better term there, and protect them. And then, hey, this is for you. Linda Burke says, where do you get the app? So Steph, where do you get that app?
So all you have to do, if go to your Play Store, go to whatever, for me, it's an app store because I have an Apple. But if you have a Android, I think it's called Play Store, and you're just going to type at the top Siser HTV, and the app pulls up. It's free, and that information will be right there for you. So since
Absolutely.
you just talked about your press settings, if you were using your home iron with the glitter, you would choose either cotton or linen settings. You're going to press with a firm to medium pressure, and you're going to press each section for 15 to 20 seconds. Why? Because, if you were using a heat press, it's a little bit lighter, less time. But, our arms are only so strong. You don't have to use a heat press. You can use, like you just showed, you can use craft iron, you can use regular iron. The thing that I'm going to emphasize, you can use any of those, just don't use steam.
Oh, that's a really good point. And the iron that I was using doesn't have steam, but yes, if you're using your home iron, make sure that the steam is off. That's a really good point, Steph. So good one. And then Christy Gray says that she would love that color in a snowflake. And I agree. Snowflakes, that's another really good one for that glitter. And so we just have some really nice comments, gorgeous designs, and the sparkly joy. I agree. That's why we love this glitter vinyl in our embroidery. So I just have a couple of other things I want to show. I actually made a little video, Steph, of the stitching process. And just so they could see, we all love to watch our machine stitch, right?
I've been mesmerized this many years later. I still watch it stitch.
Right. It's like an aquarium, like we just want to watch it while it goes, like the fish going by. So I love it. So these images are really just to kind of reiterate the process so that you guys kind of understand how to use this. And so remember, you're going to remove your carrier sheet from the glitter so that the glitter heat transfer vinyl so that you're left with just the glitter part. And that's going to act as your fabric. I'm going to use that forever, Stephanie. I love that. And then you can see in my little design there, I just stitched the placement stitch of an applique design that actually tells me where to lay down my piece of glitter. Heat transfer vinyl. I cover that up and then I stitch the remainder of the design. And in this case, this one had a satin finish and I stitch it all the way to the end. This is my favorite way to do it because the satin stitches, since they're so close together, they perforate the heat transfer vinyl and it rips away the absolute easiest. So I love that. And then you're going to rip it away. And then like we just talked about, iron it. Now notice I'm using a different craft iron. That iron actually does have steam. So I'm glad that Stephanie made that comment about making sure your steam is off when you're pressing with this. And then look at that cute little finished design that it literally just ripped away so easily. So if you've got an intricate applique that you love the idea of doing it, but you're thinking that's going to be a lot of work to trim, this would be a good product for that. Now here I'm stitching one of those Christmas trees on my placemat. I'm using my sticky hoop there and I stitched the placement and then I'm ready to place down my glitter. So I remove my carrier sheet and then I just place it down just like fabric. And then I'm going to stitch the remainder of the design. Now, if it is an applique, it's going to stop after the tack down line. And at that point, you could rip away the vinyl, but I usually leave it. So do you have a preference, Stephanie? Do you like to wait till the end or do you rip it away at the very end?
I like to wait to the end. And one of that is because to me, not all designers create that tack down stitch the same. And sometimes it feels a little loose if I'm going to pull it. And I like that satisfaction of knowing the vinyl's there and ripping it away and not worrying about that stitch at all. So if you notice, not all designers are the same. So you're used to using, you have brilliant software and that stitch is very consistent. But you'll find different designers don't always give you that wonderful tack down and it's a looser stitch. And I don't like the feeling when I go to pull it up. I love that gratification, satin stitch, candle wicking stitch, and pulling it up.
Right.
And it's beautiful. And every time I think, I'm glad I didn't have to use scissors and cut that.
I know, especially like I said, if you've got an intricate design, sometimes designs I really want to use, but I'm always like, oh my gosh, there's going to be a lot of trimming. And so I definitely get nervous. So we even had Eileen joining us today. Eileen said she can't wait to learn about the HTV and the embroidery. So I'm glad that she joined in as well. And so hi, Eileen. Thanks for watching. And thanks for letting us share this topic, right? So, okay. So, Steph, any other comments that you have or any other tips, tricks that we failed to mention
I
before we show the different color combinations?
Well, I think that we covered so much. And, we keep saying this is just such a beautiful collaboration. How many times have you heard me say it's just that perfect marriage that,
Absolutely.
it's your world, my world, and they get together? So I kind of feel like all we need is a minister to show up so we can marry these two.
I totally agree. I love that. So, yes. And so let me show you those perfect matches. So we actually, today's special, we have 3 different color ways that you can get these combinations. So we have married, as Stephanie said, the correct color of heat transfer vinyl with the perfect matching KingStar thread. So we have the coastal collection. You get 3 colors of the heat transfer vinyl and 3 colors of the KingStar thread. And each one of these packs, Eileen so nicely created a design to go along. So when you get your new pack, you have a design that is perfect for this color combination that you can get stitching right away. So I love that. And so we have the coastal collection, we have the peacock collection, which has again 3 of the sheets of vinyl. Those are 12 by 12 sheets, and the full spool of the KingStar metallic with that cute little lovebirds design there. And then the Regal collection, the orange with the copper and the purple with that eggplant and that tawny color. That was the color I used in my utensils, the tawny color with the copper of our KingStar metallic. So those are our 3 sets that we have on special today, and we'll play that special ad here coming up in just a bit. But before we do go on to that, we always like to share our new free design for the week. So Stephanie, I know you're familiar with our on the house design, right? We give away a free
No,
design
that's so
every
awesome.
week. Right? So the only thing that we ask that you guys do is get your free design. When you stitch it, share it with us on social media. So use hashtag dime sew along, hashtag on the house. You can even use hashtag exquisite thread if that's your thread brand that you're using. But we love, love, love to see your projects. Now we are approaching the end of the year, so we have had a lot of amazing free designs. And in fact, watch this little video that shows every design that we've had up until this point. So awesome. And I even saw, I don't know about you, Steph, but I even saw quite a few that would work great with this heat transfer vinyl as the fabric. So tons of options that everybody can download and play with, right?
Well, that was the first thing that I was going to say was how many of those designs do you now see in a different way that you see that glitter with it to even make
Absolutely.
it pop even more? Such beautiful designs, even better that they're given to us every time for free. So now we can go back through, look at them at a different way. So I
I love
love
that.
that.
I totally agree. Now, this week's On the House design is this really cute Christmas deer. This is so cute. I love the little mittens on the antlers there and the scarf around. So I can't wait to see what everybody does with this design. Make sure that you tag us on social media, Dime Sew Along, hashtag Dime Sew Along, hashtag On the House, and hashtag Exquisite Thread. And speaking of social media, guys, make sure that if you liked this presentation today, share it with your friends that you think it would be helpful for them as well if they want to see more about using Siser heat transfer vinyl in their embroidery projects and also using our KingStar metallic thread. So make sure you like us on Facebook so you'll get notifications. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, and also find us on Instagram. So make sure that you head over, do that so you'll get notifications for videos. Eileen always has something amazing for Facebook Live every single week for you on Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. So, Steph, before we go, I want to say a big, big thank you to you. Thank you so much for joining me. I could not have done this without your expertise. You are the vinyl and embroidery queen. So I needed your help, and I really appreciate you being here to share your expertise with us on this particular subject.
Well, I'm so thrilled to be here with you. I just have one comment. Since we have a coastal collection, don't you think we should get to go to the coast?
Well, actually, yes, I already am there. So you can come down and visit me if you like.
That's what I was waiting on. Thanks for that invite, Ashley. I can't wait to come.
That was tricky. That was tricky. I feel like I was tricked, but that's okay. You're always welcome here. So everyone, thank you so much for attending. Thank you for joining and asking all your questions. Make sure you take advantage of the special, and you guys are about to see what that is today. That's our new Shimmer and Shine packs that we have on special in these 3 colorways. So thank you guys so much for being here. And until another Facebook Live, we're going to say bye for now.
See ya. Thanks, Ashley.